and welcome back. I'm about to start a new series. This one will be different, a bit different, and um, it will be my first ever attempt to actually modify a camera, so to create, you could say, a custom camera, a custom mod. And it's not going to be just about painting, because yes, I will repaint the camera. It will also be a transformation. So I have this box from my friend Ren from Turkey. Inside the box is a pile of bags, of little Ziplocs, and inside the Ziplocs there is a Fed 1 that I will try to convert to a Leica 1 clone. Okay, so the Leica 1 is basically, obviously, is the precursor of the Leica 2. The Leica 2 is the camera that served as a copy, not a copy, the inspiration, let's call it inspiration poetically, for the Zorky 1 and the Fed 1. The main difference being that the Leica 1 did not have a rangefinder or a viewfinder. It had nothing. It had a flat top plate with cold shoe that you could use to mount accessory finders. So something, some say, slick. I personally, I prefer the Leica 2, Leica 3, and so on. All right, I'll go quickly through the box and all these little Ziploc bags, and then I will try to sort all the parts in categories, like film advance, film rewind, shutter, stuff like that, so I can organize myself. All right, so first thing first, we have a lens. This is a Jupiter 8. It has a filter on its nose, but it's missing the aperture mechanism, mainly the aperture blades and the control ring. And if I remember correctly, it misses a... oh, it has some aperture blades with the little pins dislodged. Well, that's the first time I'm seeing something like this. Let's see. This one is good, this one is bad, this one is bad, this one is good, 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 good. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't remember exactly how many aperture blades it has, either 9 or 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, so these are all the blades, but two of them have these little pins dislodged. Now I'm not at all confident that I can put them back, and I don't even think I'm gonna try. Most likely I will go through my bag of bones and try to see if I have a dead Jupiter 8. Hopefully I will. Yeah, hopefully I will. Anyway, this is the story of the Jupiter. Back it goes. It would be interesting to see if the blades are identical or not with the blades from the Industars, like the Industar 26. Actually, the Industar 26 because the 61 is a bit better. Still not Jupiter 8 good, but a bit better. Anyway, I really hate using good items to harvest parts. That's one thing I really do not like. Okay. So we'll go from a big pile to back to the box. This is the body shell. It's a bit deformed. It's a bit pressed in here, so I don't really like that. The bottom door. These parts have already been painted, but the paint is not looking good. It has a lot of little bubbles. It's peeling off, so I will need to strip it completely and try it again. This is the top plate, which is a mess because if I understood correctly, a jeweler tried to actually close some of the holes and drill new ones, because there are some differences from the Fed to the Leica 1 design. See, this one has been closed. Now, my intention is to use lacquer paint, modeling lacquer paint, but that will be a subject for the probably next episode. And lacquer paints, they don't need to be oven cured. If you do oven cure them, the temperature should be somewhere in the 40-50 degrees Celsius range. So the temperature is quite low. Because the temperature is quite low, closing the holes that I don't need can as well be done with some epoxy paste, because it's easier to work with. I don't need to think about blazing. I would need a certain alloy to blaze this copper alloy, this brass. I was looking for the term, and I don't have such materials, and why not use epoxy? It's easier to work with. I can flatten it, sand it down, paint it. It should be perfectly fine, and it's not going to brass right where I use the epoxy to close the holes. But this top plate, because it was a bit of butchery when trying to close the holes, has lots of warps, so it's quite deformed. I'm not really sure I can use it. I will probably need to get a top plate from a donor and re-drill the holes, close the holes that I don't need, and so on. And maybe I can just use this one as a reference, so I know where all the holes should be. And there is also this part, which has been machined from brass, and it's the main difference between the Zorky one and the Fed one and the Leica one. So this is a bracket that goes somewhere here, something like this, and this top cap screws on top of this bracket and basically covers the mechanism. So I should have Or maybe is it like this? Maybe. Well, I'll need to figure it out. The secondary, the latch for the second curtain should be somewhere around here. Okay, so the latch goes through this hole and goes like this, and there needs to be a spring that is connected here via a screw and acts on the latch on this side. So yeah, I'll need to figure it out. No big deal. We'll do some reverse engineering. This one, the paint on this one looks a bit better, but yeah. All right. Screws for the lens mount. Shutter crate, good condition. It's really nice. Film advance, curtain latch, winding knob, shutter speed knob, finger guard, frame counter. This is the release button. Then we have all sorts of screws and the shutter speed control disc, some springs, some screws, some brackets, some screws, more screws and brackets, and rangefinder control arm that I won't be needing, obviously, because it doesn't have a rangefinder. That's nice. Then we have parts of the advanced mechanism, part of the advanced rewind selector. This is part of the rewind. This is an idle gear. Some brass screws that are apparently new. Shutter curtains, I'll need to inspect the condition and see what I can do. The shutter curtains are the trademark of the Fed camera. See, they have this metal bar or lath or whatever. On the Zorky it was different. On the Zorky the curtain would cover and close or hide the metal bar. On the Feds the metal bar clamps on the curtain. It's my preference, I like the Zorky system. I like it more as from a CLA point of view, so I much prefer replacing curtains on that system instead of this one. I could consider replacing that metal bar and using the Zorky design. We'll see. Lens mount, pressure plate, more screws that are new. These are from the bottom plate. The rangefinder, let me see. The rangefinder is going to be reused. Not the greatest in contrast. We'll see. You never know. The rewind knob, it will be also stripped of paint, lots of screws, light shields, mainspring, these bushes or rollers, locking nuts for the tensioners of the curtains, shutter speed selector, the little spring that goes inside the selector, and also the spring that is attached to the latch, and this bracket that will no longer be needed because this one was the bracket for the top plate and the light shield. And this is a Leica, or better said Leitz Wetzlar 21mm external viewfinder. Unfortunately, if I understood correctly, some lens element from the optics, so from the optical block, is missing. That's why I have pretty much no hope of fixing that, because where am I going to get that missing lens from? Okay, so basically this is the foundation for the project. I will need to first of all arrange all the parts into categories so it's logical and it's easy to work with. Then I will need to repaint everything that needs repainting, including this body shell. Now the body shell has received strap lugs, so these were never an option on the feds. That means I will need to use the body shell no matter what, but I don't like the fact that it's warped and I don't have the tools to straighten it. I think they had, or one could actually build or manufacture something like that, some wooden pieces that had the exact precise curvature, and you could get them in and use them like mallets to actually correct the rounded part. And for this straight part, that's a lot easier. You can use anything that's straight and then hammer it down. We'll see how that goes. Shims, yeah. This one also needs to be, as I've already mentioned, stripped down, repainted. So after I'm done with repainting of the parts, I'll need to inspect the shutter curtains, and if they are good or not, that will mean I can go ahead or I'll need to replace the curtains, and then the reassembly starts. The biggest challenge will be the top plate. Cover what needs to be covered, drill new holes, tap the holes, and make sure they are all aligned in the correct positions. And one more thing, because the cold shoe needs to be in a different place than that little bracket that I showed you and told it's irrelevant now, the round one. That means the new holes for the cold shoe are in a different position, and the new holes are also a common. The screws that will keep the cold shoe on the top plate are also the screws that keep in position the upper light baffle. And obviously the light baffle needs to be in a precise position, otherwise it will hit on the curtains. So I will need to also drill new holes for the light shield that will allow me to accommodate for the difference in position for the holes. Okay. And here we have it. So this is the FED. I try to organize the bits as much as possible. So basically I have that new milled piece for actually that will be the new, let's call it, top cover. Then a couple of screws and a little note that says cold shoe, but there are only 2 screws in that little zip bag, so one is missing. Advance knob. These are parts of the idler gear on the long shaft and the rewind selector. Rewind parts, film door or bottom door, film advance, shutter speed selector, curtain number 1, curtain number 2. Curtain number 1 is in a very rough shape, so rubber is missing, it has lots of small cracks, it wasn't glued properly, so this one needs to go. I will try to see if I can only replace this one with an original piece of curtain, because you need to have both curtains of the same thickness in theory. Yeah, so I'll need to see if I have a piece of curtain that is in good condition. All these pieces will have to be sandblasted and repainted. These are some of those new screws. These are old screws that were painted black, various shims. This little guy goes on, or better said, went on the top plate. It was a bracket for the actual top plate. So from now on I will try to refer to this as being the top plate, because this is the last, let's say, surface on the top, except for this little cap. Normally you would also have that small top plate that goes here, or top cover, and this thing was a bracket mounted somewhere here. Here, see, this hole was covered and it was the mounting point for that screw in between the 2 eyepieces on the obviously original Zorkyor FED. Then we have take-up spool, rangefinder arm, and the bracket for the top cover. These won't be needed anymore except the spool. Curtain shaft, curtain latch spring, film baffles, the flat spring, locker nuts, the 2 little bushes, and pretty much that's about it. Next I will get those painted parts unpainted. I will also strip this one and this one. Actually, no, yeah, I will also strip this one, because I will want these I'm wondering, I could actually powder coat the strap lugs. Because when you get those metal things for the strap, the way they will rub inside the strap lugs will cause the paint to chip, no matter what paint that is. This one is a bit wobbly. Hopefully there is no light leak there. If I powder coat it, that will be its best chance, but I will think about it, because powder coating is a bit different and it might be too complicated. And also I need to investigate this for new holes, covering of the old holes, and this one needs to go. Obviously, when you repaint something like this, you can't just leave things in place, because you will have paint chips everywhere, and this is supposed to spin really fast inside of this bushing. So this needs to be cleaned as well. All right, that's about it for this first episode. I will be back with the updates on the things that I just talked about, and we'll see how it goes. Thank you. See you next time.